We could have been on Fun Island this whole time.
Exactly.
We could have had shark versus octopus this whole time. A dumb late summer sequel about giant sharks eating people sounds like a lot of fun, but it's not. It's Meg 2, The Trench. If you're not subscribed yet, you really should, because, you know, we are here for you. It's August. August is very hit and miss. Sometimes you get awesome little cool indies that endure the test of time, and sometimes you get terrible sequels like Meg 2. We are here for you for all of it, so come hang out with us. Alonso, what's this movie about?
That's the biggest Meg I've ever seen.
Biggest Meg anyone's ever seen.
That's the apex predator.
Whew. All right, so Jason Statham is back. The love interest that he never kissed in the first movie is now apparently dead, but her brother, played by Chinese superstar Wu Jing, is at the science-y oceanography institute place where they all work, and where they have the giant, where they've discovered the giant meg sharks, the megalodons. And this time, as they go on a deep dive to find more of them, they discover instead that way down at the bottom of the sea is an illegal mining operation. And the people running that operation would rather they not come back to the surface, so they have to fight back against sabotage and attacks and the occasional giant undersea creature. But this takes about the first half of the movie, and it is boring as hell, because apart from Jason Statham and Wu Jing and the adorable teen girl, it's a bunch of interchangeable brown-haired white people who you never get their names, you never get any personalities, and then the movie sticks them all in scuba suits, so they're even more indistinguishable. And then you sift through a lot of nonsense. And then finally, in the second hour, we get to sharks eating people, which is what we came for. This is directed by Ben Wheatley, who for a moment was considered like the next big thing in British horror. I was never a big fan of the ones that I saw, although I didn't see all of them. But now he just made that crappy Rebecca remake a couple years ago, remember, with Armie Hammer? And
that
now
was really
this.
bad.
Yeah. And so it's like, all right, you just kind of want to get the paycheck and fine, sure. This movie has no directorial stamp on it whatsoever.
None.
This is a big, smooth, glossy piece of entertainment that is designed to slide right off of your brain. And that sounds like a good thing. And the second hour is that thing that you want it to be, which is a big, dumb shark movie.
Yeah.
But oh my God, they make you wait for it. And what they
so
make you
boring.
wait for it with is tedious. I couldn't believe how awful this was. Paige Kennedy, who apparently watches this show, hi. I guess it had a contractual negotiation where it's like, all right, I'm going to come back, but my character is not just going to be the comic relief. I'm going to kick some ass. I'm going to have a giant gun, and I'm going to do the closing titles song. This thing called Chomp, which I think needs to go right next to LL Cool J's Fastest Bluest, whatever that song was from Deepest Bluest. Also kind of ridiculous, but also knows what movie it's in. Yeah, this movie is, I would say wait until it is somewhere where you can fast forward, because you want to get to the good stuff, but you don't want to sit through what they make you sit through to get there.
It is so weirdly boring. It takes so long. There's like giant chunks of like totally inscrutable underwater walking. Like, what was that movie with Kristen Stewart where she's like,
Underwater.
they're all underwater. Thank you. Where they're all stuck in the bottom of the ocean and they've got to walk, and there's like legitimate tension because you don't know what's out there in the darkness. You cannot see anything, and you can't see the people, as you said, because they're in these suits with like, there's like a weird beveling to the face masks, and so like you can't tell who is who inside of them, and the effects just look terrible. But before we even get to any of the underwater stuff, there's this prelude from 65 million years ago where we establish that this is basically Jurassic Park, right? It's underwater Jurassic Park. And the effects look so bad. I took Nick with me, and like within seconds we were laughing hysterically because we're like, what the hell is this movie? Video games look better than this.
Well,
seriously.
Also, the premise of the little prelude is to show you that, like, you know, a Meg can swallow up a Tyrannosaurus Rex like, you know, lickety-split brunch, nobody's business. But if that's the case, then why would the Meg then later eat people? It seems like people are just these little, like, tiny. It's like I said on KCRW. It's like trying to survive on sand dabs. Like that. There's not a lot of meat on those bones. These are, compared to like if you're eating a T-Rex, you should be chasing orcas.
Right, crawfish. Like it's a lot of work for a little bit of food.
Yeah.
It's like that. So I was so bored.
Let the orcas destroy the yachts and then get eaten by the Meg.
Well, the thing is that eventually we get to a place called Fun Island.
Yes.
And it's like, we could have been on Fun Island this whole time.
Exactly.
We could have had shark versus octopus this whole time. Oh my God. And once we got to the crazy stuff with people getting eaten, like that was exciting. Like finally we're here. One of my favorite memories ever, Alonso. We talk about August and how terrible August is. You and Dave and I went and saw Piranha 3D. It was like a middle of the day Friday screening of this. We had so much fun. We laughed our asses off because that's a movie that knows what it is. And like we get that too little too late here with the Meg. And it's all of 2 hours long. And the dialogue is so terrible and so stiff, even by the standards of like a late summer Jason Statham movie. Nick turned to me and he's like, was this thing written by AI? Because it feels like it. It's so bland. Yeah. And then people eventually, spoiler, people on the crew do get eaten. Not everyone survives this thing. And we're supposed to care. Like they're all totally indistinguishable.
Yeah, to quote Mystery Science Theater, who were you?
Who even were you? And so, yeah, the effects look terrible. But even like once things get fun, it's still not good per se.
No.
There's a whole thing with Jason Statham, like on a jet ski, and he has like rigged up this like harpoon.
Explosive spears, yeah.
They find a box that literally says explosives on it. Oh my God. And they take the explosives and he like wraps the thing around the spear and he's like on a jet ski with the thing, like surfing the top of this giant wave to kill the megalodon. And it looks so incredibly terrible.
And I said also like the amount of online like razzing that The Rock and Vin Diesel got when it was revealed that it was in their contracts in Fast and Furious that they couldn't lose a fight. The level of godlike ability that Jason Statham has in this movie, from the very first scene where he like single-handedly overcomes an entire boatload of like polluters, to the end where he's jet skiing over giant sharks and blowing them up with spears. It's like, I guess this is what we're doing, and this is a movie that, yeah, you're right. Like Piranha 3D, it should own its absurdity. And I think the first Meg does to an extent. I mean, it also takes a while to get going, but once it gets silly, it totally like just bathes in it. And yeah, you're right. The second hour, even though it's an improvement, it's still not as like just deliciously bananas as you want it to be. So it's just, this is kind of a letdown.
Also, Jason Statham kicking a shark in the face is not nearly as fun as Idris Elba kicking a lion in the face in Beast.
I didn't see Beast, but I'll take your word for it.
Literally kicks a lion in the face. And also you mentioned there's Ben Wheatley and there's like no discernible directorial stamp at all. Like this is not like High Rise in the deep sea. Like I wish it were, right? Like there's
or Free Fire,
right?
Not
like,
that I like that movie, but it was something,
We reviewed High Rise on What the Flick, and I think it had some tension in it, and it had some things to say about, it was like Snowpiercer in a skyscraper.
It was Snowpiercer, right? Yeah, Snowpiercer standing straight up. Yeah,
I just don't know why he said yes to this.
We can only venture to guess. But yeah, I mean, even as somebody who was not, like I said, of the movies that I've seen of his, handful, I wasn't into them. I didn't see what the big deal about this guy was, but they were trying for something. And this is such a Chinese co-production, big star, special effects, visual effects thing. And yeah, it doesn't register at all.
What's your number?
4.5.
Ooh, that's really generous. I'm going to say like 2.3.
4.5 entirely for the film's second hour.
But you have to go through the whole first hour to get to it. So, Meg 2, don't see it.